So today I want to go over how to keep your Cricut machines clean. This will cover pretty much all of the Cricut machines except for the Venture, which has its own program and tutorial. You will need just a couple of things. Most of the stuff is stuff that you probably already have around the house. You know, a toothbrush for cleaning some of the parts that can't just be wiped off, a Q-tip, and a little bit of rubbing alcohol or glass cleaner to clean your sensors and lenses. A product called Super Lube. This is used for lubricating the bar that your cutting carriage goes back and forth across. An alcohol wipe or a little bit of alcohol on just a piece of paper towel, and this is used for cleaning your blade. And a pair of tweezers in case you have something stuck like in a corner or in a little hole that you can't get to. And then I also use a microfiber cloth because it doesn't leave dust, but you could just as easily use a paper towel. You just might end up with some dust in, you know, crevices and cracks somewhere. So let's get to it. And some glass cleaner. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to spray a little bit of glass cleaner on the rag. Don't spray it on your machine, spray it on your rag. And you're going to use this to wipe down all your outside surfaces. Get inside your little cup holes, get the front of the door, get everything. You also want to make sure that you tip your machine. You're going to want to do this with your machine unplugged. Not just turned off, but unplugged. And you get back here where your mat comes out of the back of the machine. Make sure you get that wiped out good. Once you've got your outside wiped off, you're going to open your machine. Now we're going to do the exact same thing inside. And you might need a little bit of extra spray. And you can use this to wipe every single part down. As long as you've got your tube of grease, you can even wipe your carriage bar, this bar right here. You can even wipe this down because we're going to put fresh grease on it. So it's okay if you wipe the grease off. And it's perfectly safe to move your carriage back and forth by hand. It'll be stiff, but you can move it. It's not going to hurt it any. Just don't jam it back and forth. This part right here between the door and your machine, this is where you tend to collect a lot of dirt. And that dirt usually comes from your mats. The back of your mats get dirty over time. In this case, this one's pretty clean. But these mats get dirty, and as they're going in and out of your machine, they collect the dirt in this little seam. So make sure you wipe your backs of your mats off too. Keep track of that so that you're not getting extra dirt in your machine that you could have avoided. And then back to just wiping everything down. Okay, and now we're also going to clean our blade holder. And same thing, just wipe it down. You're not trying to white glove treatment it. Make sure you don't have any bits of paper in here. You can use a can of spray air to spray out the entire machine while you're at it, just so in case there's pieces of paper stuck back behind the corners. And you'll also notice you have these little rubber wheels on the two sides. They tend to collect a lot of stuff, like glitter. Do not try to clean these with your machine plugged in. You can wipe them off with your rag, just do the best you can. And grab your toothbrush. If you've still got stuff on there that you can't do, get to your toothbrush and scrub whatever you can. You can also spray your toothbrush with a little bit of alcohol and scrub these little white wheels. These white wheels will collect ink when you're doing print and cut. They'll collect glitter. They'll collect pretty much anything that goes under them. And they get dirty, and that can transfer onto your newer projects. So scrub all of this stuff really well. And make sure you wipe it when you're done, or spray it with some canned air in case you dislodged pieces of paper or whatever you might have been working on. Make sure you open the little tray for your drawer. And wipe all of this out too. Stuff can collect in here. Dust, paper, fibers, possibly your M&Ms. This might be your snack drawer. Okay, once we've done all of that, okay, so next we're going to go to cleaning the blade. So to get your blade out of your machine, you just undo your clamp and pull it out. Push this little button on the end and that will eject your blade so that you can get a hold of it with your hand. You're not going to cut yourself. As you can see, you might jab yourself, but you're not going to cut yourself. It's just not that sharp. And this is where you're going to take your little alcohol prep pad or maybe just a napkin with a little bit of alcohol sprayed on it. And you're going to clean this blade really well. This will get off any bits of adhesive that got on there from cutting vinyl or cutting iron-on. This builds up. I clean my blades at least once a week. If I've been cutting a lot of vinyl one day, I'll clean it at the end of the day when I'm done. And then you just drop your blade back in there and put it back in its carriage and latch it down. Next, we're going to clean our lenses. For that, you once again just need a little bit of alcohol and a Q-tip. You don't want to saturate it, you just want to get it damp. I'm going to tip our machine so we can see it. I'm going to try to zoom in here so that you guys can get a better look. Okay, you've got two lenses. You've got one right here on the side that's next to your blade. This might be easier to get to without your blade. And it's a little black square. You can just barely see it. Just rub your Q-tip around that real good. That'll get any dust or debris or paper fibers off of that, so it'll recognize which blade you've got inserted better. And then this one is a little bit harder to see. This center part right here is where your light shines when you're doing print and cut. There is a lens underneath that. So you just come in from the side and get underneath there and just wipe it out the best you can. You can't see it, so you just kind of have to go by feel. And that should be good enough for that. And if you're working on Maker 3 or Maker 4, there's also going to be a little sensor right here which senses the length of your paper or your mat, and you can do the same thing with it. Just wipe it off with a little bit of alcohol. Now that covers all of the cleaning parts of your machine. Now we'll go to the greasing part. So your carriage runs across this big fat bar right here. And over time, your grease can either wear off, or it's gotten rubbed off, or it just starts squeaking, making noise. That's where this super lube grease comes into effect. You just put a little bit right around the edge of the bar. Just get it as far around as you can. You could even use a Q-tip to apply this so you can get some underneath. And then you're going to slide your carriage back over. And you're going to put some more on the other side. It doesn't take a lot. You just need a little bit to go around it. And I usually use my finger to kind of push it down in there, make sure I've gotten the whole thing. And then you just kind of gently slide this back and forth a few times. And that should disperse your grease across the bar nice and even. And if your machine was making noise because it needed grease, that should have fixed it. And there you go. That's how to clean and maintain your Cricut machine. This should cover all of the Cricut machines except for the Venture, and Cricut has their own tutorial with instructions on that on the Cricut site.